Like I said in video 1, this is not a paleo diet series. You probably guessed that already by the multiple criticisms I've levelled at the diet. But the other way you know this isn't a paleo diet video series is that I'm now going to leap into describing a ton of other aspects of primal living. We've largely sorted out our diet, but that's only one small part of the story. Next up, exercise. Here's the problem with modern exercise. We spend 24 hours a day, 3 days a week, and 23 hours the other 4 days doing absolutely nothing or at least very little. We may walk a little, but the majority of our time is spent either sitting at a desk at work or sitting on a sofa watching TV. But then, for those few hours, we go absolutely crazy. After doing nothing all day, we suddenly throw ourselves into the gym and work like crazy for 40 to 60 minutes. Then we do nothing again. What's more is that the exercise we do is nothing like the body is used to. The exercise we do involves sitting down still and pushing against a handle, or it involves running on a treadmill. Even if we run in shoes on the pavement, this isn't what our body is designed for. Then we go back to sitting around all day. And we wonder why we have no energy and why it's so hard for us to get our energy levels up. And we wonder why we're still struggling to lose that weight and build muscle. But now take a look at your cat or your dog. Chances are that the story is quite different for them. They're either running around, eating, or sleeping. They very rarely will just sit at all. The same is even true in the wild. How often do you find a pigeon just sitting and watching the traffic? They're either flying around, looking for food, or sleeping. They exercise all the time, and then they lie down and recover. Now let's take a look at our evolutionary history again. How would we have lived in the wild? Well, we certainly wouldn't have spent all day looking at computers. In fact, we probably wouldn't even have sat. We didn't have chairs, and if we look at primitive man, we'll find that they would squat rather than sit. During the days, we would have been either hunting or gathering. That would mean tracking animals long distances for hours on end. We'd have carved stone tools, we'd have wrestled with animals, and we'd have gotten into fights with other humans. And then we'd have slept. So in other words, we were almost always active, or we were sleeping. Before that, we would have climbed trees. It's only 3 million years ago that we were still climbing, and primitive man would likely have climbed many craggy rocks, and so on. We adapt to the lifestyle we have. If you spend all your time sitting down doing very little, then you'll become efficient at doing that. That means you'll find doing other, more interesting things difficult, and you'll be low on energy all the time, which means you'll never be likely to break out of the rat race. Now consider how incredible you could be. A mountain goat is able to run across cliff faces with incredible agility and will never fall. Why? Because it's been doing that its whole life, and it has adapted that way. Its muscle memory is finely tuned and honed. You could be so much more than you are right now. Instead of being a fat office worker, it's time to start becoming a highly toned warrior. So the bottom line is this. Our current workout programs are not enough. You can't make up for a lifetime of sitting by working out for an hour every other day. We need to start training more throughout the day and becoming more active. Of course, that's not easy when your boss demands that you don't do press-ups on your desk, so what can you do instead? One way to do this is with something called incidental training, or nano workouts. Incidental training means that you turn everyday activities into a training opportunity, and you make those simple things a little harder and more challenging. For instance, if you're waiting at the bus stop, why not do some calf raises on the curb? Why not do 5 pull-ups every time you walk through a doorway that has a pull bar installed? And the old classic, Why not take the stairs instead of the lift or elevator? You can also multitask in order to start introducing more activity into your life. For example, when you get a call from a friend and you know it's going to be a 20-minute chat at least, why not leave the house and go for a walk? Presupposing, of course, that your friend is calling you on your mobile. And if you're watching TV, why not do some sit-ups or some spinning at the same time? Another tip is to take up some more active hobbies. Playing sports is a fantastic way to exercise that doesn't feel like work. Likewise, you could take up dance. These are rewarding social activities that will see you burn several hundred additional calories once or twice a week. This makes such a difference to your fitness, energy levels, mood, and weight loss that you won't believe the changes. A lot of people come to me for training and diet advice, and often they seem very distressed at the fact that they're following all the advice, eating healthily and exercising often, but they can't lose any weight. My cousin was one such person. She couldn't lose the weight despite going to the gym 3 times a week and avoiding all junk food. Meanwhile, you have my wife, who never works out, who eats a lot of dessert, and who is consistently a UK size 8. What's the difference? I gave them both a fitness tracker, and we quickly saw the difference. My cousin will get the tube, that's what we call the subway here in London, outside of her house. She would ride no distance down the road and then work all day. Then she'd go to the gym or maybe come home. My wife, on the other hand, has a 10-minute walk this end and a 20-minute walk the other. She also power walks because she's very conscientious. She stands all the way on the tube, which is 40 minutes either way, and she walks 10 minutes there and back to get her lunch. My wife was averaging over 10,000 steps a day, whereas my cousin was managing 2,000. Meanwhile, my wife would often go for walks in the evening, and we were attending a dance class at the same time. And at the weekends, we almost always travel somewhere to visit friends, which tend to be very active too. In short, my wife's lifestyle was just far more consistently active. She didn't choose to work out or diet, but simply by living. Now, imagine if you could start to consciously introduce much more activity throughout your day. Instead of thinking in terms of exercising or not exercising, you're now walking, doing calf raises, doing pull-ups, dancing, curling the shopping bags. Throughout the day, you're burning extra calories at every opportunity, and your body will respond. Then you have your nano workouts. Now, these are short bursts of exercise that you do anywhere and that will normally only require your body weight. It might mean that you do 50 press-ups or 50 sit-ups and 50 pull-ups. This is such a fast workout that it won't make you sweaty, and it'll be easy to convince yourself to find the time and motivation. Does it replace an in-depth workout? No. But it keeps you burning more calories throughout the day. It strengthens your heart, and it even boosts your mood and energy levels. In short, this is the perfect way to augment your current training program. Plus, this is an excellent minimum baseline. In other words, even if you don't manage to do any other exercise that day, you'll know you've done at least this amount of training, and that in turn means that you'll be better off than someone who did nothing. This trains your body to be consistently ready, to be far more energy efficient, and to burn fat throughout the day. And it prevents that lethargy and staleness from setting in. Take this excerpt from Men's Health magazine that examines the study on micro-workouts. If you're stuck working an 80-hour work week, Jack says that taking a few minutes every hour or so will keep your mind fresh and your body engaged. It'll keep you mentally and emotionally sound until you can bring your activity levels up again, he says. In fact, you can do more than minimize the damage of sitting all day, says researcher Eric Fries, PhD, who recently studied the benefits of sprint workouts for his dissertation at the University of Georgia. Quote, "It's possible for an athlete to maintain or even increase fitness using short bursts of energy," end quote. he says. Freeze ran subjects through 4 30-second bursts of all-out cycling sprints 3 days a week over a 6-week period, starting at 4 sets and gradually increasing to 8 sets. We saw improvements across the board, Freeze said. Lowered triglyceride levels, increased mental energy, and improved overall mood as well.